Hello there. Welcome to this simple guide on how to complete a home self-testing kit. In these blue boxes you will see that there is on one end a nice simple sign that says open, and once you've got the box open there's a nice little tab that we can use to pull the contents out. Now as soon as it comes out you'll notice that there is a very useful hole here which we are going to use for completing tests throughout. It's nice to keep all of the kit in one place. So please don't get rid of the box. The first thing to say is that inside your kit you will find a number of test tubes. You'll find a really detailed instruction leaflet that walks you through every single step of the process. A small packet of reagent. The individual testing cartridges, which are in these packets here. And the strips of swabs. You'll also be given a number of waste bags, so after you complete each test you put one in the waste bag and then we move through. So what I'm going to do is just roughly demonstrate through the process for you and from there. So to begin with, we are going to make sure that we wash our hands thoroughly, singing happy birthday to ourselves twice. La 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 la. Sanitize our hands just to be extra sure so that we make sure that everything that we're going to then come into contact with is nice and clean. Now, firstly, I'm going to take my test tube, and using the small hole that we located earlier, I can drop the test tube in here and it just keeps it held nice upright for us throughout our testing. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the reagent packet. Now in here are individual doses. So all of the liquid that's in this container now needs to be transferred to our test tube. So simply pinch and twist the top. It comes off very easily, and then you're going to tip it upside down. Notice that actually when I've got it upside down, nothing's coming out until I give it a good squeeze. So I'm then going to squeeze all of that fluid, there we go, into the test tube. Okay, so the test tube's now ready for me. The next job involves something that wasn't supplied in the pack. You're going to blow your nose very firmly on a tissue. So I will do that now. There we go. And my next job is to take my sample. So I'm going to carefully tear off one of these swabs. And notice that it's got an open end. Okay, this end I'm going to carefully peel backwards like a banana. Okay, until just the top of the tip is showing. This is the only end that I'm allowed to touch, so I'm then going to carefully remove that from the wrapper, get rid of the wrapper, and now it's very important that this end doesn't touch anything but the contents of your nose. Okay, so we're then going to tilt our heads backwards, insert the stick up our nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The trick is just to tilt your head backwards and push it up your nose until you feel a slight bit of resistance until it's slightly uncomfortable. So now I'm going to do the other side, and up we go until I feel resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Now I'm going to pop that into my test tube. The next thing I want to do is I want to mix the reagent that's already in the test tube with my sample. And the best way to do that is to give the test tube a nice squeeze, and perhaps you can see there the liquid just rises up the side over the top of the swab, and then I can give the swab a spin round in that fluid, and I should do that for approximately 15 to 30 seconds. So I'm just going to do that now. La 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 la. Get the sample nicely mixed up. Okay, and then once I'm good to go, I'm now going to try and drain as much fluid off that swab as possible. So again, I'm going to squeeze the test tube at the top. Now this one's quite tricky. I'm just going to squeeze it where those 3 lines are. Okay, to squeeze that swab, and I'm going to carefully remove the swab from the test tube in one movement, trying to squeeze out as much of my sample as possible. I can then seal that test tube, place it back in the extraction hole, and take a COVID testing strip, which I'll carefully open. There we go. And we're all set up and ready to go. So I now take my dropper I turn it upside down and I can place 2 drops of the solution, 1, 2, into the window marked S for sample. And now I'm going to register the time, and I'm going to make a little note of that on the side because this is the start time for my test. And as you can see now, my sample is starting to move up the testing cartridge. And what we hope to see is that this line is going to progress all the way up. It will do ever so slowly. And a line will develop at C. Now the pink line that will develop at C just lets us know that that is a valid test, that we've put enough of the solution in the window to create a valid test. I then leave it for no more than 30 minutes, so they advise checking really pretty quickly, but at the 30-minute period you then check your test result again. If you see a line through at the T, that's an indicator for COVID-19. So a line through at the T means COVID-19, but that may not appear until about 30 minutes into the test. However, in the ones that we have seen that have shown up as positive results, that line has usually appeared much faster. Now, it's a little bit unclear on here, but it is just starting to come through. It will slowly get clearer and clearer. So the line that I've got there through at the C means that I have a valid test in place.